Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I am here with a mid-month project share. Normally I would do this at the end of the month or beginning of the next month, but February is a load month, which means layout a day, which means I'm making a lot of projects. In addition to that, I'm also doing a card making class, and so I have a lot of things to share. I thought I'd split it up and pop in and say hello and share what I've got. So let me switch over to my table, and I will stay in the corner and chat with you as we go. So let's start with that card making class that I mentioned. I am taking an ink blending class from the SET group, and I love their classes and events. And even though I'm very comfortable with ink blending, I take these classes, one, to be in community with other people who just love to craft, and two, I always pick up nuggets of new information, and so far I've gotten one nice little nugget, so it's worth it to me, even though I feel comfortable with all of these concepts. At any rate, here are the cards I have made so far. Because the concepts aren't terribly new to me, I haven't done all of the homework yet, but I will get there. I will try all of the projects. These were focusing on just the basics of ink blending. That's making ombres, completing a variation of color, doing kind of highlight ink blending, and so on. And these cards in particular, I did the ink blending and then I turned them into cards that I will be donating to the Cards for Kindness charity. And they collect cards from crafters and they send them out to partner organizations that get cards into the hands of people who need them. And right now they have a higher need of cards for kids, kind of encouragement cards specifically for kids, because they're working with a foster care, I believe it's foster care program that really needs to cheer up some kids. And so I am trying to get some of these things made and sent off, and another reason to share so I can get them sent off sooner. These two were based on ink blending with stencils, and this is double stenciling. So first I stenciled the oval shape and then I stenciled a pattern over it. And oh, my kitty is coming. You're coming up, dude. Come on. Ooh. So this is Xander. He's my little snuggle bug and he wants some attention right now. So we'll snuggle as we keep talking. So these ones, yes, were definitely about double stenciling, so using a pattern on top of another stencil. It makes a lot of sense when you're doing really open, large shape stencils. I haven't tried it with smaller stencils. Like one of the samples was stenciling polka dots on top of a flower stencil. So mixing and matching stencils in that way, I haven't tried much of that. So that is what I do need to try. So there are some things to do in class, even though I'm experienced with ink blending. All right, these were Valentine's Day cards that I made on a video to share some ideas for Valentine's Day. So I'm not going to go over these too much. If you haven't seen that video, this one has a bit of a surprise inside. And I'm talking about using basic supplies that you probably already own to do these ideas and techniques with. And this one was my favorite because I like the negative heart there that holds the sentiment. So that is those. Now let's move on to the layouts. This is the only layout I've done so far as part of the design team over at the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. And this challenge was to talk about 10 things you love about something. And I got up to about 8 things, but I'm calling that good. This is a story where I wanted specifically to combine some holiday Christmas products. So I've got Christmas trees, I've got wreaths and stockings, merry and bright. I wanted to combine those with these bold game day products from Simple Stories. So we've got Winter, we've got Yay, Let's Play, and that's because we do this game advent calendar. I was going to say every year at Christmas, but it's only been 2 years now. So I do have one more of these layouts to do, so I'm going to repeat this combo of supplies, and maybe that's what I'll do next after I'm done with this video. All right, so that's the Counterfeit Kit Challenge, and if you want to know anything about the groups I'm going to mention, which I'm going to talk about the Load Challenge next, you can find all the links down below, and check out those groups. One is a membership group, but you can do the Load Challenge as a standalone event. And then the Counterfeit Kit Challenge group is a totally free group on Facebook where we share the love of scrapbooking. All right, in terms of the load challenge, that's the Layout a Day challenge, which, like I said, is hosted by scraphappy.org, and that is a membership group for scrapbookers and crafters. And you can do the load challenges a couple times a year as a standalone event, but as a member, it's all included. So I kind of fell off track of doing this, and this has happened to me every load all last year, and I really thought I was going to do a good job this month, and I missed day 4. So I've been trying to get caught up because I like the challenges, and I like the community, and I like going in and checking out everybody's layouts that they post, and so I'm just trying to keep playing along. So day 1, I almost forgot, and I did a really quick digital layout using Project Life app on my phone, and I've been prepping a lot of photos, and I print out my photos like you can see here. I put a note card and I clip them together, and then I make a list of all of those stories that I'm telling so that when I tell them, I can kind of check them off that list. And this helps me not duplicate stories because I'm really bad at remembering things, and I have lately duplicated multiple things, and it's driving me crazy. So I need to get my organization back in order. So that ended up being my really quick layout for day 1 because I almost forgot. So day 2, we were encouraged to tell a story. I don't remember exactly what the prompt was, but I ended up telling this story about how I remember spaghetti dinners as a kid and how my brother remembers spaghetti dinners. I've been visiting my brother more lately than I used to in life, and we've been swapping a lot of stories, and this was a story that came up on one of our last visits, and I've been wanting to capture this, so the load prompt this day was perfect for capturing this story. So load often hits on ideas that either I had lingering but didn't make an effort to do, or things I've never even thought of. So that is one of the great things about load. Let's see, this was day 3, and I don't remember what the challenge was again. I did play with more ink blending on a scrapbook layout, so ink blending isn't just for cards. And I have not done a huge amount of full page ink blending, so getting a full 8.5 by 11 page went very nicely, and I was happy with how it came out. And I was just sitting and playing, telling a very simple story and just using pretty products. That's it. Sometimes my scrapbooking is just about enjoying the process, and the story isn't quite as important. Here is one that features my brother. So this was a trip that my daughter and I took to visit my brother, and he told her all the stories that he was telling me on my last visit. So she got to hear repeats of the stories from my point of view that he then told from his point of view. So that was a really fun trip for me to watch the family connections hold together there. So this was a story about us going to see a Broadway show, but now I need to tell a story of that connection because that was a big part of what I got out of that trip. So that is something I need to put on my list for the future. All right, this was another load. I think all the rest of these are load layouts. My middle kid has legally and officially moved out of the house last year. They've been in college for a while, and they're now in grad school, almost done with that, and legally moved out and got their very first own pet now that they're a little bit more stable, and sent me some pictures. And of course, I had to scrapbook it because that's who I am. And I do a lot of cat scrapbooks, which you'll be seeing from me. I've got my cat who loves to snuggle, and I love to snuggle too. So now I get to scrapbook somebody else's cat. All right, this one was to tell about how someone shows love. And this was just me capturing an everyday moment in recent life. So load can be about telling the old stories. It can be about telling hard stories, forgotten stories. This one was just everyday life. So I have a problem with migraines, and I haven't had issues in a while, and we were sitting watching our favorite TV show, and I started coming down with a migraine. And I'm like, oh no, man. And my husband asked me if I needed anything. And I was like, no, no. And we just finished watching our show. And then he came back from like a run to the kitchen. And I said, you know what I need? I need ice cream. So he's like, I'm on it. And he went to the store and he bought me migraine ice cream. So that is my story of how someone shows love when they will just drop everything and go to the store for you because you need ice cream. So that is that one. And then here we are back to cats. These are our two. I call them the kittens, but they're almost 2 years old already. But we have an old man cat, so these will always be the kittens to me. And how they were just in total synchronized cat mode on this day. So you will be seeing lots of cat layouts from me in the future if you stick around, because I'm a crazy cat lady. Okay, I had to cut the video right there because I almost showed a sneaky peek that I don't want to have out there just yet. This layout was talking about renewal, and instead of talking about a personal renewal, I talk about renewing our craft supplies, renewing our perspective on our craft supplies. So I have been doing a live stream project on my channel, and if you want to catch it, I'll give you all the details, about using this set of dies that I got from my Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar in December of 25. And so it's a whole set of supplies that I am looking at in a new way to create new imagery, new concepts out of the same dies. So one example is, here is a little worm die that we got, and during the series I turned him into a snake. So those are the kind of ideas that I'm looking at, these shapes, and creating something new. So this is the plan for next month, or this month. It's already this month. This is the plan for February, coming up in a couple weeks. And those live streams are on the 4th Friday of the month. And if you want to craft along, I have printables that list all the instructions, supplies, and any die cutting that you will need to do to get ready for the event. And so this whole layout is about capturing this new part of my YouTube channel and how excited I am about looking at these dies in fresh, new, exciting ways. All right, and again, if you want to check that out, I will link you up below. I'm going to flip this one over to hide that sneak, and then I'm also hiding some things on the next layout. All right, this was more of an art journaling page. So I am a very wordy person, as you probably figured out by me chatting away. I like to tell all the details of a story. And this was a prompt about talk about a motto. And I'm talking about the golden rule and how, what that means to me in my life, especially in the current political environment. The golden rule seems to have gone out the window in a lot of places, but I won't go into all the details, but they are in here in my journaling. So that is, I'm just going to set that off to the side. Let's come back to my face. So that is what I have to share for mid-February, and I will be back either at the end of the month or early in March to share the second half of February. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for sticking around and hearing me chat and looking at my projects, because I do enjoy sharing, and I hope you got something useful out of this, whether it's just a sense of connection or some cool ideas for your own projects. I will be back next week with more actual crafting, and until then, I hope you have an artful day.